One of the big things the school board's going to decide is us choosing a full-time superintendent. And I would say in my 18 years, sometimes making sure we hire someone really good, something that we could improve upon. What are some skills you would look for in a superintendent? Or what would you look forward into our next superintendent?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing that's important is that the superintendent's goals need to align with the board's goals. Because if you don't have someone that believes in what the board believes in and what their priorities are, then nothing that you want to drive forward will happen. Because the superintendent is really the person that executes what the goals of the board are. So if you don't believe in what the board believes in, people work hard when it's something that they're passionate about and they believe in, right? So if the superintendent doesn't believe in and is not passionate about what the board goals are, there's going to be a disconnect. And the board will constantly be trying to push someone to do something that they maybe don't have significant interest in. So that part I think is important for number one. The second thing I think is really important is transparency and integrity. So transparency in the sense that they will answer questions when asked and they will be forthcoming with information. I think, again, like I spoke about with how board makes decisions, if you're not transparent in your communication and you're not forthcoming with information, it leaves a lot of room for assumption and questioning, and it breaks down trust. And so it's really important for this new superintendent to be a transparent communicator and forthcoming with information so that people don't feel like they're in the dark. Because then again, that leads to assumptions starting and breakdown in communication. I think it's important that the superintendent also has good communication skills and has dealt with difficult situations, because based on the history, like Lilia described, like the board has a history of some division. The city has a history. It's not just the board, it's the community, seems like to me, from someone who's just kind of taking note of a lot of things happening throughout this political campaign, is that there's a lot of division in the city. And so this person needs to have, it would be great if they've had some experience in challenging situations. You know, for me, the one analogy that I use for how I've been in a challenging situation to bring unity is when I was hired in Kaiser Permanente as a breast imaging doctor, I was brought in to lead change. And so I already had a proven track record of doing a lot of things in leadership. I was a chief resident in residency, and a lot of leadership before that in medical school. I was the president also of different associations. And so I like doing projects and workflows and fixing things. And so I was hired for that. And so when I started, this is an analogy. So a woman has a problem with her breast. So she comes in, she needs a mammogram to start. Well, you might also need an ultrasound. The department that I came to, the mammogram department saw themselves as mammogram only. Don't talk to us about anything else. We're just doing mammograms. The ultrasound department just did ultrasounds. Don't talk to us about anything else. We're just doing ultrasound. And what happened to the person in the middle? It was the patient. And the patient, from the time of diagnosis, from screening, coming in for screening to the time of a diagnosis of breast cancer was 6 visits over a month period. Can you imagine the anxiety that patient went through for an entire month? And so I had to help those two departments start to see each other as we are one department serving one patient, because both of us are serving a breast patient. We're not two different islands and entities. And it took time, because these are people who have been working there for 20, 30 years. And here you have a newcomer coming in, trying to tell you, no, you're doing it wrong. You need to do it this way, right? And so it took a lot of buy-in, and I learned a lot about leadership in that process. I learned a lot about how to be a servant leader, how to show them by example what it looks like. I learned how to communicate with my staff and learned that I have to hear my staff's needs to be able to get them to buy into the change that I'm trying to make, help them see how it benefits them. And so it took us a good 2 years. I completely revamped the breast care service in 3 facilities. Hayward, no, we weren't San Leandro this time, we were still in Hayward, Union City, and Fremont. And the patient care experience went down to 2 visits. So now instead of 6 visits to get diagnosed with breast cancer, you can be diagnosed in like 2 to 7 days max. 2 visits. You come in for 1 and you come in for 2 and you're done. And that was from us creating a 1 unified department. So I have lived it, I have experienced it. And so I can come to the table and honestly say that I know how to bring unity. And so the superintendent that is chosen should have gone through some types of experiences that have have given them the ability to be able to do that too. So I think that's really important. Otherwise, we're going to end up with high turnover. They have to understand what they're walking into.
Mm-hmm. I have to excuse myself. I have to get my son to an appointment. I just want to say thank you so much for meeting, and then also being so thorough with. It's refreshing. I think this is the first time I've actually talked to a board member in the 7 years I've worked for Dublin. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for taking the time.